Bonjour tout le monde. Good morning, everyone. My name is Patricia Walsh, and I sit on the board of directors of the Ottawa Branch, National Association of Federal Retirees. On behalf of the Ottawa Branch, I'm delighted to welcome you to our third Healthy Aging webinar with Amy Friesen. The webinar is called How to Stay Safe for Remaining in Your Home. Au nom de la section d'Ottawa, je suis ravie de vous accueillir à notre troisième webinaire avec Amy Friesen sur le vieillissement en bonne santé. Please note that the webinar is presented in English, but participation in both official language is encouraged at all times. A special welcome to any non-members joining us today. A reminder that as members, you are welcome to encourage and invite friends or former colleagues that will be interested in becoming a NAFR member to our webinars. Maybe the simplest way will be to forward our branch newsletter by email, which gives the links to sign up. A reminder, the webinars are being recorded and you will receive an email after the presentation with instructions on how to access the video. Now, before we proceed any further, I want to mention our association is having another mega recruitment drive this year. We are asking for everyone's help to recruit new members to help the association grow. And there are great prizes to win for referring new members. This year is the first year that we have the grand prize of $10,000 cash, courtesy of Johnson's Home and Auto Insurance. Every time you successfully recruit a new member, you will get a chance to win this and other great prizes, and no matter what, you will always receive a $5 gift card. You really can't lose, and our association will win as our branch will grow with new members. After today's presentation, our branch will send you a separate email and with information on how to participate in the mega recruitment drive and information about webinars to come. Now let me introduce today's presenter, Amy Friesen. She is a best-selling author, multi-award winner specialist in the area of retirement living. She's been working in the field for the last 17 years. Amy has assisted seniors and their families from around the world to find retirement living options that best suit their individual needs. In 2014, Amy founded Tea and Toast, a local research service, a local search service for seniors specializing in retirement and long-term care homes. Amy educates and speaks to the community and local business regularly about retirement living and its complexities. Amy is also well known locally for her assistance in organizing and providing for seniors during the 2018 tornado, as well as her participation for the Santa for Seniors programs. Please join me in giving Amy a very warm welcome. Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, Patricia. Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to say hi on camera. I'm going to shut our cameras off now so they don't distract. Just 1 second here. Okay. All right, so I'm going to just start quickly with a little bit of housekeeping. Now, the question and answer period, we're going to leave till the end. And if you hover on the bottom of your webinar screen, you'll see Q&A, and you can add your questions in there. Try not to add them into the webinar chat, although we do have folks that are going to grab the questions there. But if you can put them into the question and answer portion, that would be great, so we won't miss any. And as Patricia said, if you would like to send questions in French, Patricia can help me field those questions and will reply to you as well. Okay, I hope everyone's ready to get started. So just a little bit more about me. I've been an educator and speaker, and like Patricia said, I run Tea and Toast, which is a local retirement search program for seniors and families who are looking to make a move into retirement living. I'm going to touch on a little bit more about me so that you can get to know me. This is my husband, Mike, and our little lady, Eva. And Eva is currently showing us a little bit of a parallel between my work and my home life, as we have been touring daycares, on video tour, much like I'm touring with the seniors that I'm working with on video tour of the retirement homes. I'm also a pet mom to Ruby and Sigmund and Levon and Mabel. I'm an avid cook and a photographer, and in case you didn't know, I'm a 2-time tractor pull champion. But on a more serious note, I've been in this industry now for 17 years, and I've also started in the long-term care industry 17 years ago, and we're bringing that back into what we do at Tea and Toast. And throughout my many years, we've assisted over 1,000 families to help find retirement living. And as I said, I've been public speaking, and I've been doing that for the last 5 years. As a special bonus, and thank you for staying on the entire webinar, we'll have a free download for you at the end that should help you plan out your next steps. And I'm super impressed, and thank you for coming. There's 47 people on our webinar this morning, which is fantastic. So let's dive in. So I always like to start talking about what is your care path. Now, many folks are in your own home and you're looking to see what down the road, what is their options down the road. And sometimes the care path, it goes a couple of different ways. So you could always look to go from your home to a retirement home, and there's a picture of a cruise ship on land, which is how I refer to retirement homes, but not to be confused with expense and things like that. It's more so to show you that retirement living is very much more social, and that's kind of like usually how I refer to it. And so you can go from your home to a retirement home to a long-term care home or a nursing home. Those are interchangeable terms. And you can also go from your home to a long-term care home. And it really just depends on your own care needs, your family's care needs, and what's going on in your own situation. This is a picture of an Ohio nursing home that caters to clients who have dementia. And I always thought this was a really cool home that I'd like to visit. It has little front porches so that it really is much more homey. So what is your plan? What type of services might you need going forward? Let's start by taking a look at the care path possibilities as they go with health. So the LHIN, which is the Local Health Integration Network, there's 14 LHINs across Ontario. Ours is called the Champlain LHIN, and they are funded through the Ministry of Long-Term Care, and they offer subsidized services and services throughout the community as well as retirement living. These are some of the services that they can offer to you in your home, such things for health and professionals like having a nurse come in, or physio or social workers. But they also help with personal care such as bathing and dressing, homemaking such as laundry, cleaning, and meals, and they can also help with end-of-life care. Is there an assessment process? This is a question we get quite a lot. There is an assessment process to get through the LHIN, and it briefly would be contacting the LHIN and checking to see if you qualify would be the first step. And then what you would need to do is discuss your needs with a care manager and arrange a home visit, and then apply for care. It's all of the qualifications are based around, most of the qualifications I should say, are based around your current health status and whether you can get care now or whether they wait a little bit to see if your health status changes. A question we do get a lot also is, does my doctor need to put in a referral? Your doctor does not need to do the assessment. I'm sorry, the doctor does not need to do the referral. Anyone can put a referral in for the LHIN, including yourself, a neighbor, a family, and then when the LHIN contact you, if for some reason it was you didn't want to be referred, you could always turn it down. But anyone could put that referral in for you. Let's talk a little bit about home care in the private sector. Now, the private care includes both formalized companies and private caregivers. A company is an organization that has multiple care workers and does a range of care from companion to nursing. The individual folks that do care, often not associated with a company, are mostly companions that I've found, but some are also personal support workers. So it is possible to find both. The main difference between having a private caregiver from a business versus from the community is usually medication administration. When someone needs to be provided their medications, it's something that a nurse needs to be doing, whether you're in the community, whether you're in a retirement home or a long-term care home. And so you need to make sure that you're checking that. If you're hiring a companion and you do need meds, they can remind you to take medications, but they can't physically give them to you. Okay, so we're going to move on here. What home care can offer? The services are very similar to the LHIN, except for the fact of a time differentiator. So because you're paying independently for a private care service, a private business to come in, you can basically have as many services as you require. They are similar services, so companionship, personal care, and nursing care, housekeeping, and transportation, just to name a few. If you need help with groceries and such like that, they can also help. So remember, the main difference is how much time you get. The LHIN is very centralized on offering a certain amount of time per client, but as private can go, you can have as much care as possible, or as much care as you can afford or need. So I'm going to just wait for this to load. This is a video that I've had one of my home care, the founder of Assurance, do for me, so that you can have an idea of what to look for when you're looking for home care. So have a look at this video and I'll touch base again.
Hi, my name is Christine McGinn and I am co-owner of Assurance Home Care. We are a boutique style home care provider servicing both Ottawa and Toronto. We offer a full spectrum of home care services, from companionship straight through to palliative care and end of life. Here are 5 questions that you would want to ask a potential home care provider before hiring them. First and foremost, number 1, you want to look at the quality of caregivers that will be actually providing the service to you or your loved one. With regard to that, it is important to ask a home care company what skills and qualifications they consider valuable for caregivers. In addition to that, and beyond that, beyond the skills and qualifications, what are their core values, and how do they tease out those core values to hire the right people who will be providing care. In addition to that, in regards to caregivers, you want to ask if you can have, if it is important to you that you have the same caregiver over time, ask if that is something that is possible for you to have. So some home care companies don't promise consistency, but we do find establishing a rapport over time with one caregiver is an important feature in ensuring that good quality care is provided. Secondly, you want to ask about the supervision for the caregivers. With regards to that, you want to ask who is providing the supervision. So at Assurance Home Care, it is all nurse managed, and our caregivers in the field have 24-hour access to a nurse should a change in condition happen unexpectedly and they need an opinion, or in terms of coaching and mentoring. If there's something in the field that a caregiver has a question about, our nurses can go in and answer those questions and help coach and mentor. Number 3, communication. What is the communication policy of the home care provider, and are they willing to customize that to suit you? So for instance, if you are an elderly person in Ottawa receiving care from a caregiver, then you have a daughter who is your financial and health POA, and you want her to receive information with consent, you should be able to, the home care company should be able to provide updates that provide peace of mind to family members. During this time, as we navigate through this pandemic, number 4 would be to ask specific questions about the home care company's COVID-19 protocols. Every home care company should have their protocols in writing and should be able to provide that to you before providing service, so that you have peace of mind that every precaution is being taken to ensure the safety of you or your loved one. Number 5, ask the home care company if they provide a full spectrum of services. So if you start off with something like housekeeping or companionship, or you need transportation somewhere, but you are expecting that because of your age or your loved one's age or illness or disease process, that you may want to add on services, it is a nice feature to be working with a home care company that has a full spectrum of services, so that you don't have to switch out should your loved one require a different type of care that is not provided by the one that you chose. I hope you find this helpful. Thank you.
Okay, so just to touch on a couple of things, one of the main questions I usually get is, should I hire a company or an individual for home care? A couple of other factors that you might want to consider are insurance. Is the person that you're hiring insured? Are they involved with any associations, or do they have any accreditations? There's many for home care, and that might be something to look into, more so that they're progressive and making sure that they are doing what they can to be able to provide the service and give peace of mind. And as Christine said, the ministry protocols, especially around COVID currently, is definitely something that's very important. So family can also be caregivers. A lot of the families that are caregiving currently are doing things like groceries and cooking, or bringing over meals. They're helping with medications. They're taking folks to appointments. And some of my clients have had to actually stay with their loved ones for extended time. So you have to weigh that out and how that works in your family dynamic, but it's definitely a possibility. Which leads us to our next conversation. My loved one has dementia, and I want to keep them home as long as possible. This can be great for a certain amount of time. However, I often see that things change quickly and can get out of hand just as quick. I'd like to touch on this because it's something we see a lot in the community when we're working with clients, and I don't like to see it get out of hand, so I like to give people a little bit of information around dementia and staying home. So some things you should consider. Caregiver burnout is always on top of our list. Who's caring for the person who has dementia, and how is their own personal care and their own mental care doing because of it. So always be on the lookout for caregiver burnout. As the disease progresses, sometimes people become more argumentative, and that makes things a little bit difficult, especially when you're getting to a point of possibly making a move. And somewhat, the longer you wait, the more argumentative sometimes people begin to get. Dementia does progress differently in individuals, so it's hard to know that, but it's something to keep your eye open to. Adaptation. I often find that the earlier in the prognosis of dementia, and more so the earlier when signs and symptoms start to change, sometimes it's better to make a move then, because the person who has dementia, whether you're a spouse and you want to go with them, or you stay at home and they move, or a loved one, the person who has dementia will be able to adapt to retirement living or long-term care a little bit easier than if you were to leave it too long. Same with stimulation. Stimulation is tough when you're staying at home because you have to, as a caregiver, you kind of have to keep that person busy and stimulate it in the right way and try to keep their memory as sharp as possible. And sometimes that's better done in a controlled setting, in a supportive setting, just because they have it all set up there. Medications as well. Medications and nutrition kind of go hand in hand. And often what I find when we're called in is that something's happened with the medications and something's happened with the nutrition that skyrockets things. So you have to be right on top of making sure medications are administered properly. And not only that the people eat, as well as yourself if you're the caregiver, but it is nutritious, and you are covering off as much as you can in the nutrition category. So I just briefly wanted to speak about Irene and Bill. Irene and Bill have been married for 65 years, and Bill has Lewy body dementia, and he started to wander, and that caused problems for Irene at night as well, because she was up nightly worrying about him. And she even tried to put some door alarms on just so that she could sleep better, because as you can expect, if you're up all night worrying about your spouse, you know, walking out the door, that's very stressful. Due to this situation, like I said, there's lots of loss of sleep because she's keeping an eye. There's undue added stress. There's heightening aggravation on Bill's part, because Bill doesn't understand why he can't leave anymore. He doesn't understand that because he doesn't have the capability of doing that. And when I last spoke with them, they had actually waited too long, and Bill was in hospital, and they were trying to get things under control because his medication was off, his nutrition was off, and really they just left it too late. And so this is why I like to touch on this, because in a situation that you're dealing with dementia, it is possible to leave things too late. And the situation, the care path that we were talking about at the first, may not be the one you want to follow if you leave it too late. A little bit about social isolation as well when you're staying at home. There has been quite an increase of social isolation because of COVID. I'm sure you're all aware. But again, with social isolation does come caregiver burnout again. If you're not being able to go even for a walk, although these ladies are not socially distanced on our slide, you know, go out for a walk socially distanced, and, you know, keep your friends and family ties active. The same goes for people with dementia. There's day away programs in non-COVID times that are operating. I think some have also gone to online, and it's important for you to keep engaged. Just generalized socialization is super helpful, and especially now because of COVID, we're seeing an increase of isolation due to COVID, and I think we're in month 8 at the moment, and it's definitely taking a toll. It was taking a toll months ago, and it's taking more of a toll now. So let's move on to discuss what types of home renovations and aids might be important to keep you safe at home while you're staying in your home. Some of the modifications and renovations that we come across, or that we recommend for folks when we're talking to them in our consultations, usually a bathroom needs to be either completely redone, or grab bars need to be added, seat raisers, different things like that in the bathroom to make it safe. That's one of the main areas, as well as stairs in the home. So some people look at adding stair lifts, and you also should probably consider flooring. A lot of the folks that are staying in their home currently have been in their home for a very long time, and we might be looking at a situation where they have high pile carpet that's not as easy, or throw rugs that probably are not beneficial to them anymore. And sometimes people change out their flooring to a laminate or a wood, so that if they have a walker or something, it's easier for them to get across. So a little bit of information on what to ask your contractor. I consulted with one of my colleagues on this as well, and her top choices were: make sure that the contractor has business insurance for obvious reasons. You want to know who does the permits. If you're doing a big reno, is it you that needs to do the permits, or is it the contractor that'll do it for you? You would like to know who is completing the work. So do they have a licensed sub-trade, or are they going to be doing it? Sometimes contractors will have an outside plumber come in, for instance, but they do all the rest of the work. So you really just want to know who's doing the work, who's responsible, who's in your house. Also, ask for a detailed contract so you know exactly what you're getting and you're not surprised. And then lastly, as you saw at the first, I'm a pet lover, and a pet policy is interesting to know, because I had windows, for instance, installed a little while ago, and one of the folks that was doing it wasn't super interested in going above and beyond for our pets, and we have 4 of them, you know, keeping doors closed and such. And so you want to know if that's important to you. You want to be able to ask the contractor about it so that you've got clarity around it and they know what your expectations are. Let's talk a little bit about aids that you can use to keep you safe. Often when we're called in to have a consultation with people that are not quite ready to make a move, we're talking about the same things I'm talking about today, and it's how to keep you safe. But the top of our list is often a pendant system. The pendant system, like it is in this picture, and there's a lot of different variables, different setups for pendant systems, but basically it's a help button. If you get in a pickle and you need some assistance, you can press this button. You can program it usually to go to whomever you'd like. You can program it to go to family. You can program it to go to 911, whatever's preferable for you. In addition, there's some local companies also that do GPS tracking pendant systems, which is helpful for folks that are in later stages of dementia as well. They've got ones that can go in shoes, all sorts of things. So it's definitely worth looking into. Walkers and wheelchairs, I touch on this because a lot of folks are not using their walkers and or wheelchairs as kind of prescribed by their doctors. And the reason we touch on this is because a lot of people do furniture walking, meaning they'll use their walker when they go out for groceries perhaps, but when they're in their house, they park their walker at their front door and they walk through the house hanging onto furniture. And I'm sure some of you are giggling to yourself currently because I know it happens quite a lot. The other thing to consider is alarm systems. We touched on this with Irene and Bill. There are front door alarms that can be helpful, but if you're also caring for someone who might be a fall risk, there are alarms that you can put on the bed. So a bed alarm, which is like a kind of like a big blanket type of situation that lets you know when they're out of bed. And there's also a pull alarm for a wheelchair. So if someone is leaning too far ahead, the alarm will go off and it'll let you know that maybe there's some trouble. So those are some things to look in for aids to keep you safe while you're staying at home. Let's discuss how long versus how much. How much money are you willing to invest to stay in your own home, and how long are you willing to invest it for? Some of the costs to consider when you're remaining at home are renovations, as we spoke about. And I always say that it's probably a good idea to speak with a real estate agent about the resale value and types of renos that would be appropriate for your house. There's definitely been houses I've been in where they've done renovations to suit what they need, but then they get to a point where they actually need to move, and the renovations almost need to be put back to some sort of pre-renovation situation to sell the home because they don't fit the market in which they're going to be selling. Home care usually ranges somewhere between $25 and $35 an hour. Often there's a 3-hour minimum. Sometimes you can find less. This is with a company I'm discussing about right now. Some people also need 24-hour care, and that I've had clients spend up to $20,000 to get 24-hour care. So something to consider and weigh out about staying home versus moving is how much support you need. And when you get into a scenario where you're needing help with transfers, and sometimes people need help, 2 people transferring them, that is going to be more costly because you're going to need home care PSWs there a lot more frequently. Additional mobile services are terrific. These are things such as mobile haircuts, mobile hygienists, dog groomers, things like that. They are terrific services, but remember they're considered a convenience service because they're mobile, therefore they usually cost a little bit more. And as I mentioned previously, of course, and I will mention it again, is the caregiver burnout. It is real and it's a dangerous condition. And what is the actual cost of caregiver burnout? Who is doing the care? Is it family? Is it yourself? Is it a spouse? Who's doing it? And what are the repercussions going to be in a long-term scenario? Please do consider that. I always like to leave my clients with a contingency plan. This is the way that you can really map out the full care path for yourself or your loved one. if things aren't working at home, there are other options. When we work together, I can help you build an entire plan and give you strategies and next steps to follow. These next steps include looking into retirement homes and long-term care homes. And it's really important to know what your options are. The number one obstacle when I work with a client is a lack of education in the general public on the differences between a retirement home and a nursing home. So what is a retirement home? A retirement home is a privately run home that has care anywhere from an independent client, which usually is their meals and housekeeping that's provided, so they're independent for care-wise, all the way up to quite excessive care, that two-person transfer that I talked about. A lot of homes in Ottawa specifically do offer that, and that is, just to review, that's if you're sitting in bed and you need two people to help you out, that can be provided in a retirement home as well. Retirement living allows people to live with their peers who have similar life experiences. And that's really important. And that's why it's good to plan it out, because you're able to really know what next steps to go from when you're staying at home and you want to make that last as long as possible. It's still important to have some sort of plan. Let's briefly talk on the cost of retirement living. So who is moving? In retirement living, spouses can stay together. The second occupant is usually a cost, and it's usually around $800 a month if that person is independent, to have them in the suite with the first occupant. And that is usually to cover off their meals, their housekeeping, laundry services, such like that. The retirement also offers anywhere from studios up to 2-bedroom suites. So again, who is moving, how many people, and how big of a suite do you need? And some of the homes also offer a shared suite. What type of retirement home should we look at? Do you want a retirement home that has all the bells and whistles, that's the shiny penny? Or would you prefer a homier home, maybe an older home? That does differentiate for cost. When are you moving? You know, in the retirement homes often follow the same seasonal as real estate. So fall and spring are quite busy, and therefore usually you can get offers throughout the year. But you know, for instance, with COVID, there's a lot of offers to be had right now if that's of interest to you. And by the end of the year, there's always discounts and offers available, because in January every year, the prices do go up. So that's something to be considered when you're looking into retirement living. Where in town? Location, location, location. Just like real estate, where in town does come into what the cost of the retirement home is. Also, where in the building, whether it's a penthouse or a good view, might also, depending on the retirement home. Why you should look at different styles of homes. So like I said, the bells and whistles versus the homey home. Older homes may be more cost effective. Newer homes may have better deals because they're new and they want to fill. But also with the newer homes, they tend to attract a younger clientele, younger residents. So if you're a young senior that is looking into this and you want an independent lifestyle, but you don't want to move into a residence that's too old, you may want to be looking into the newer retirement homes. How long are you staying? So are you looking to move permanently? Are you looking to move for a temporary respite, whether it's just a relaxing stay, or to recover from hip surgery or something like that? Or are you looking for a winter stay? A winter stay often takes place from December to March. And it is basically an extended respite stay. You can go into the retirement home. It gives you a good chance to try it out. Usually it's furnished, but it also gives you a break from trying to get out in the winter and, you know, get your groceries and shovel and things like that. It's definitely a nice break. And a bonus, what care you require as you age. So adding additional care will add additional costs. A lot of people come to me and say, you know, I don't want to have, every time I need a pill, I don't want to be charged. That's some false information that's in the industry actually. that doesn't really happen. What does happen is there are two types of buildings. One is a package care where the price that you see is the price that you pay and everything's included. And another one is a la carte care, which means that if you're looking to do, say, medications and transfers, those will be added into your care package and charged on a monthly basis. That's a nice selection for people that are using the LIN, that are coming in with some extra care that they don't want to have to pay for at the home. Or if you have less care and you'd like to add just a few things, sometimes there's some cost savings there. We are getting a lot of questions about COVID and the outbreaks in retirement homes. And as of right now, COVID in retirement and long-term care is on the rise, unfortunately, again. We have been moving people to retirement living quite a lot still throughout the whole system, or sorry, throughout the whole time of COVID. But there's definitely added restrictions. There's definitely added protocols. It doesn't look as pretty and nice as it usually does, but the care is still there. The homes are still providing great care, and it's still a good option if that is the situation you find yourself in. So what is a nursing home? A nursing home is a publicly subsidized facility. It's run in both the private and public sectors. It's usually hospital-like, and it requires a special kind of roadmap to navigate. Spouses can't stay together as easily in a nursing home. They do have spousal reunification. However, it's a bit trickier and a very time-consuming. The prices in nursing do range, and there's some there's some subsidies available if you don't have the money for nursing homes. And I'm going to go into a little bit more about cost here, just so you have it. So cost is really determinant on room size. All the care is included. If you need depends and things like that, toiletries, everything's included. So first we have the basic room size. Now traditionally, this was a 4-bed room, which is also called a ward room or a quad room. And the cost for this is around $1,900. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in a second. The second type of room is a semi-private, which is 2 beds. 2 people are sharing a suite. And these differ from home to home. Some have a half wall dividing them, others have curtains, some have shared bathrooms, and some have outside bathrooms. And when we go through this with our clients, we make sure to lay all of this out so that you have a full understanding. And lastly, there's a private suite in and around the $2,700 mark. And that's just as it says. It's a private suite. You're not sharing with anyone. And as you can see, the price does go up from the first one, but it could be completely within your budget, and that might be what you're looking for. So it is available. Now with COVID, the basic rooms, we've lost in Ontario, we've lost 800 beds because the basic rooms no longer are 4. They are now 2, so they're into the semi-private. But there are still an availability at this price point. So there's a certain designated amount of rooms at this price point. But what you're going to see is that they are the semi-private rooms now. And a little question about COVID as well in nursing homes is definitely COVID has taken, quite a sweep through the nursing homes. It's been devastating. Something to know though is that it is different than retirement living. A lot of the nursing homes that are getting COVID, many people are getting sick in the nursing homes. In contrast, retirement homes, most of the time it's one staff member. Regardless, they still need to close down for the 2 weeks and test everyone. So it looks the same to the public, but it's not the same in the home. Just a little piece of information. There's also the Ottawa Public Health Daily Dashboard that you can have a look at to keep apprised of who is an outbreak and when they're over. At this moment, it's more regular to have someone have a home go through outbreak and get cleared as to not be in outbreak at all. So there's very few homes at this point that have not had an outbreak, especially in retirement living. It's more so just kind of when it's going to happen, especially with cold and flu season and all that coming up. So while we're speaking about long-term care, the number 2 question I get when I speak with people in the community is, what if I run out of money? In a long-term care home, you would be moved to a basic room, and there's subsidies to cover that off. And basically you're given, if you're bringing in CPP and OAS, for instance, you're given kind of a monthly allowance, and then all the rest of the money goes to your stay in the long-term care home. In a retirement home, many people downsize their room. They've been known to move retirement homes. So say they wanted the shiny penny home, and they wanted to live it up for a couple years, which is totally great. And then they have some more care, and they really do want to downsize or change style of suite or home. That's possible. That does happen quite a bit. There's a lot of internal moves in retirement living. And then also maybe you're proceeding with a long-term care list and getting the process started to get into long-term care. Another question that I usually get are, what about meals and kitchens? So meals are included in all of the long-term care homes and all of the retirement homes except for a very select handful. That being said, a lot of homes are going to a system where you can get rebates for your meals as a way to attract a younger clientele, because a lot of the independent residents who want to move in do want to do their meals still or have special diets that they're accustomed to cooking. Some homes in Ottawa do offer full kitchens, which is nice as well. There's not very many of them, but we definitely can find them when we know where they are. So if you need any assistance with that, we can be of help. And lastly, we also get asked about pets. Most retirement homes do take pets. Sometimes you'll have to put a deposit down as a damage deposit, and usually you have to sign a piece in the contract that is a pet clause. In long-term care, they don't have pets allowed. And also, usually there's friendly visits with pets. The Humane Society before COVID was coming in and things like that. I'm sure it will start again, but we are in COVID at the moment, so it's a little hard to know. Sorting out the details of long-term care is difficult and super time consuming. And I've developed this online course to walk you through the entire process step by step, which is called the Roadmap to Long-Term Care in Ontario. Design a care path you can have confidence in. And if you're interested in receiving an email when the registration opens, be sure to head over to tiantos.ca/course, and that just adds your name. And this is what the page looks like, just so you know. And again, you're just adding your name for interest's sake, but if you're interested and want some help navigating, then we are available to you. The roadmap of long-term care in Ontario will include 4 modules, and this is kind of what we're talking about, more in depth about nursing homes, more in depth about the LHIN, more in depth about the nursing home process and care paths and strategies to implement when you're going through. And it's a really good course if you are worried about making the wrong decision because you're too overwhelmed, you're short on time, you're confused by terminology, you're unsure of the process, or you don't know any strategies. So that is definitely going to be helpful for you if you're in that ballgame. So as a bonus, thank you. We have 47 people who stayed on with us. So just about all of you actually, which is amazing. If you head over to tiantos.ca/download, you can download this multi-page document called Things You Should Know. And it is a place to hold all of your personal information, but also all of your wishes and requests. There's also a place in the back to say, this is my care plan for retirement or long-term care, or this is what I want to do, and have it all there so that you don't get into a pickle later and your family and loved ones know what's important to you. So the early registers for this webinar, we will, your names are up and we will send you an email to confirm your address so that we can send you a book. And if you would like to purchase a book from Breadcrumbs, which is a book I've written, tiantos.ca/ebook. You can grab it there. It definitely has a lot of the questions and strategies that many of our clients have come up with and real world examples that hopefully you'll find helpful. So now we're on to the question and answer period. If you look on the bottom of your screen in the Q&A, if you're hovering, you can put a question in there and I will answer it. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to do that. One of the questions that have come up is there a lease in retirement living and how does that work? So in retirement living, there is a lease, and it basically is a 12-month lease. And the reason I say that is that it's to hold the price of the suite that you're in. But in retirement homes across Ontario, the lease can be broken with 30 days notice. So it doesn't have to be a calendar month, but it's any 30 days notice that can break the lease, and then you can move out. And that is the same if you're moving to long-term care, or if you're moving to, or if there was a, if your loved one passed away, whatnot. There's definitely variables in what that looks like, but in general terms, it's 30 days. The long-term, can I share the link to the long-term care plan again? I think you're talking about the course. If you're interested in the course, it would just be tntoast.ca/course. If you go to the hospital, do you lose your spot in a facility? So I'm going to answer that two ways. One, if you're in a retirement home, you do not lose your spot if you're in hospital. You are paying for your spot, but you won't lose it. In a long-term care home, I do think it does matter how long you're in there. I don't know that you lose it, but there is something very specific that I'm not quite sure how to answer that at the moment. I don't want to give you a wrong answer. There is a certain amount of time you can be vacant from a long-term care home, and then you kind of close your spot. So that does happen. You also, if you're in long-term care, or sorry, if you're in hospital long enough, and say you're in home and you go to hospital and you're getting the LIN support, if you're in hospital long enough, I think it's like maybe a week or so, then they actually close your file with the LIN, and then they'll reopen it when you go out. But there's a LIN that's associated with the hospital that would help you to kind of get the services back in place again. Full care at home costs how much per month? You gave the figure of $20,000. So full care, I was talking about if you're hiring a home care company and you need 24-hour care, I have had people spending $20,000 a month to do that. And the reason I know that is because I've had it multiple times, and we were looking at retirement living, and their care could probably be taken care of for around $6,000 in retirement, and that's how they made their decision. There's also the availability to have a live-in caregiver, which would be a lot less expensive, but it takes a little bit more vetting because they're coming to live in your home. Can you say more about the range in costs in retirement homes? I absolutely can. So when you're looking at a retirement home, and one of the reasons why the rates aren't put online is that they're variable depending on your own unique situation. In a retirement home, if you're a single person that is independent, meaning you only really need, a suite and housekeeping and meals, you can be looking at a suite that's a studio around $2,000, a 1-bedroom around $45,000 or $5,000, and then a 2-bedroom around probably $6,500 to $7,000. Now, if you're the second occupant, you need to add the $800 or so, and then you're adding care on top. In an a la carte home, care can range anywhere from nothing all the way, I've seen it all the way up about $2,500, but that's very significant. That's a lot of care. And so most of our people are, with the LIN help, are somewhere around needing a level of care around $1,000 or less usually, unless you're very significant care needs. Okay, lots of questions. Thanks everyone. I'm loving this. Okay, let me just read this. So what about older immigrants from Asia and other countries? Are there facilities available that cater to their needs? They may not be good in English, for example. So we've definitely worked with a lot of Mandarin speaking residents and a couple of other backgrounds. So two-part answer again. In retirement living, there's not as much. We have been able to find other, for instance, Mandarin speaking residents, and we've been able to set them up that way and have some kind of communication, sometimes a staff member. So we'll go above and beyond just to try to make that match a little bit better. In nursing homes, there's some specific nursing homes in the area. There's some specific nursing homes for Italian, for Jewish, and some of the homes also have a floor. One of the homes has a floor of all Asian background residents. They're all on one floor. They've kind of chosen to be on that floor to make a community. So it does exist more so in long-term care. The difference between nursing homes and long-term care homes, there's no difference. They are interchangeable terms. I believe nursing homes is more of the old school kind of language around it. And so it has been changed to long-term care home, but nursing homes and long-term care homes are interchangeable terms. As are retirement homes and assisted living, those are pretty interchangeable as well. It's a little bit confusing, but that's definitely how it's been operating. Great questions, everyone. Does anybody else have any other questions that you want to have answered here? I'll give you a couple of minutes. Okay. Oh, here comes another question. Your thoughts on dealing with a senior living alone that is hesitant to consider retirement living? Well, let me tell you, I've been known more than once to say, let me in there, because a lot of what's holding people back is feeling that they're being forced to make a decision they don't want to be making from their family. And so sometimes family is too close to what's going on, and you really do need to bring a professional in then. Sometimes people want to get their back up because they don't want, say, their son telling them what to do when they're the mom. And sometimes we're dealing with dementia, and sometimes we're dealing with other things. And so often saying, you know, getting on the same page, figuring out what they need and what they want, and going from there. I would say that if you're dealing with it on your own, really listen to your loved one about their concerns and let them know they're heard. That's one of the main things that we find, is that a lot of people don't feel that they're heard and that they're just being shipped somewhere. So really listen to them, find out what their concerns are, and then find the answers for them, as opposed to saying, you're not well and you need to move, right? Like there's no description in that. And so that really does make a difference. All right, lots of questions. Do all retirement homes organize regular outings for their residents, shopping and out of town excursions? Yes, I would say, with exception to one or two. Yeah, everybody does arrange a lot of trips out. Again, COVID has changed things. We're hoping it'll get back to normal soon enough, but most communities have some sort of bus or shared bus or van that they do have a full calendar of activities, and they go out grocery shopping. They go out, some of them go for medical appointments, some of them go out to like Merrickville or go out for tea or whatnot. It's usually seasonal, and they'll go and see the leaves in Montebello. Yeah, so they're quite active. Are personal concierge services available in Ottawa and compete with the LHIN as a better cost option? I'm not sure, Monique, I'm not sure what this question means. Let me know. I'm going to answer it the way I think it's answered. If not, just pop another question in. So there's personal home care services available in Ottawa that they don't compete with the LHIN, because you would basically, if you're looking for a cost savings, you would get the LHIN services as much as they'll offer you, and then you would supplement with home care. And so they're not competing services, they're just different services. And that's the same in retirement living. You would, if you want to bring the LHIN with you to retirement, then when we plan out where you're moving in your budget, then we make that plan with you with the LHIN included, so that, you know, the homes that we're looking at have the best case scenario for you. I think that's what you're asking. Please let me know if that's not. Okay, if I qualify from a need point of view and I live in a retirement residence, is there a priority system to access long-term care? Is there a means to test the long-term access long-term care. Okay, so if you are living in a retirement home, okay, one step back. If you are at home and you're on the nursing home list, if you move to a retirement home, you do not lose your place on the long-term care list. Also though, if you're in a retirement home, you're not prioritized around anything either. It's a complete separate system. It doesn't matter where in the community you live, the nursing home list is the nursing home list, and there's no priority. Some people figure that, you know, for instance, Rivera has retirement homes and nursing homes, and they figure if they're in a retirement home that's a Rivera, they can get into a retirement home or into a nursing home that's Rivera. That is not correct. You have to go through the same wait list scenario, qualifying scenario that everybody does. Do you have counterparts in the other parts of provinces in London? We are actually in the midst of expanding in that area. I do have some people, some other colleagues around in different provinces and around Toronto and London, but we're actually looking at it doing ourselves. So we haven't quite got up and running. There's not very many advisors like us. However, if you would like to talk to me about it, we might be able to help. So you can email me at amy@teaandtoast.ca and I can see if I can help. Okay, do retirement homes offer parking for residents who still drive? Yes. Most retirement homes do offer parking. There is a combination of outdoor parking where most of the time they're able to, you know, brush off your car in the winter. There's covered parking and there's underground parking, and it's usually an extra cost. It's usually around $100, I believe, a month. Long waiting lists for nursing homes up to 3 years. Yes. Before COVID, the nursing home wait lists were anywhere from, I would say, 6 months to 10 years. Right now, in our LIN, the nursing homes are only taking crisis placement, which means the lists are getting longer, which also means that the retirement homes are getting fuller. And so if you're someone who needs some care and you're waiting out COVID, it might not be a good scenario at this moment. It might have been good in March. We have lots of people who waited, but now with everybody running out, you might get into a pickle. And so the wait lists in long-term care are getting longer, definitely. And it depends on which nursing home you're looking at. The wait lists for retirement aren't usually a thing, but they are becoming something because people who need assistance, who were going to wait at the long-term care or whose name was going to come up in the long-term care list, they are now needing retirement homes in the meantime. And so the assisted living floors are becoming fuller and fuller. For a person with dementia in a retirement home, can one purchase the same amount of care as in long-term care? Yes. The stipulation with dementia, not all retirement homes are created equal, so keep that in mind. The retirement homes, as a general rule of thumb, if someone has dementia and is living on a memory care floor, they can mostly take care of the care, but one of the hard stops is more towards behaviors. So if someone is lashing out physically, for instance, most often that person will be sent to hospital and will be prioritized for long-term care. That being said, not everyone with dementia needs a secured floor. People that are wander risks will need a secured floor, but many people with dementia live throughout the building, and it really depends on what their physical care needs are. So I get a lot of folks that have dementia that are super physically fit. Those are my wander risks. Those are the people I'm concerned with that are going to wander. And so often we look for a memory care floor for them. Whereas I have other folks that are, you know, pleasantly confused and doing their thing and they just want to be involved. They're not necessarily wander risk and they can usually live throughout the home. Okay. Is there a means test? Is there a means test as part of the assessment to long-term care? There's a lot of, so when the LIN does their qualification, they're doing a lot of different things in their test. I don't have the specifics on what, you know, the questions are they're looking for, but they're looking at all sorts of different areas to see if someone is qualified for long-term care. I don't have a better answer for that. I'm sorry for that. but it is quite a little bit of a process to get through, but they are looking at different aspects. Okay, I think that's the most questions I've had yet. We're at 15 questions, which is amazing. Anybody else have any questions before we finish here? I'll just wait a couple more minutes because we got a whole host of them last time I waited. Okay. All right, so I'm going to turn our videos on, Patricia, and we will sign off. Just a second here. Here we are, and Patricia, your video. Here we are.
Thank you, Amy, so much for your excellent presentation this morning. I was really impressed by the number of questions you got. They were all really important questions, and you gave great responses. You have had there was lots of really helpful ideas to consider when thinking about creating a safe and healthy environment at home, and your information will only help in our decision making. Don't forget to watch in your inbox for 2 emails in the next 2 days to come. First, you will receive instructions from Amy on how to access a video recording of her presentation that you listened to today. And second, Ottawa branch will send you more information on our up and coming webinars and how to participate in the mega recruitment drive and have a chance to win that $10,000 for successfully referring a new member. I'd like to mention to stay safe, take good care, and merci beaucoup tout le monde.
Thanks everyone. Have a great day.